And we are live with our 17th edition of Nansen Office Hours. This week we have a slight microphone upgrade. And just like last week, we've got a video upgrade on Alex's side with some corporate sponsorship in the background. Alex, how you doing this week?
Pretty good here at Nansen HQ in Singapore with a nice backdrop, sponsored by Nansen.
Yeah, although we gotta fix the alignment just on the logo's not in there.
That's terrible. Let's see. There we go.
Perfect.
It's kind of funky there, actually. There we go. Nice.
How you liking Singapore these days?
It's good. It's very comfortable. I would say life here is very convenient. Reminds me a bit of living in Hong Kong. But yeah, I feel like the quality of life is a bit higher.
And also, there's a lot of interesting crypto people out there, right?
I've got the screen freezing.
On my side or your side? All right, well, while Alex reconnects, for anyone new here, this is Nansen Office Hours, a weekly show where Alex and I shoot the breeze and dive into different dashboards. Hey Matt, I'm located in New York City. If anyone's in New York City, let me know. But yeah, we dive into dashboards, we explore different projects. Today, I think we will be starting off at hot contracts and then seeing what pops up there. If you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to ask in the chat, and we're happy to explore any projects that you guys want. How's it going now, Alex?
Going better. I think the same thing happened last time. Your screen freezes, but this time I remember from last time that it's actually me freezing. So I decided to just refresh.
Good stuff.
Hopefully you can see me okay now.
Yeah, crisp, clean.
Cool. Actually, yeah, the hot contracts. Should we start there? I also wanted to shill the Lido dashboard that we have overhauled.
Let's do it.
So maybe I can start shilling that.
Let's see. I think there's actually a few interesting projects this week that we'll find on the hot contracts, and then we can dive in on token god mode after.
Yeah. So this is another great dashboard migrated. So as you hopefully can tell, we're doing a lot of work on the user interface of Nansen. It has a lot of issues in the first version. So this is basically what V2 of Nansen will look like. And so instead of having a big bang kind of, rollout of all this stuff, we're just migrating dashboard by dashboard. And we are also fixing a lot of these like widgets and components as we do it. So they're going to keep getting better. And please give us feedback, if there's anything that you don't like about this new visual style, and we will still have time to fix it. So this is Lido, the Lido dashboard, and it measures basically many different things about the Lido project. So for context, Lido is basically a staking pool for ETH2. And so you can see here how much Ether has been deposited into the Lido project. You see on this big number over here, just the total amount of ETH. You see the number of depositors. You can see where the kind of staked Ether that gets minted when people deposit Ether into the Lido project, where that's sitting. And so you see Uniswap, Curve, Binance. Actually, I think the Binance one is probably someone who just sent it to the wrong exchange, to be perfectly honest. And then 1inch exchange. So Curve is like the main place where you have a lot of STF liquidity. You can also see how the price is holding up against Ether itself and the DEX trading volume. And then down here you can see, who are the main depositors of Ether into Lido. And there's actually, there's a few things that you can see here. You see the largest staking transactions. You can also see the top voters in the Lido DAO. And you can see the latest votes over here. And you can kind of click through on these. And lo and behold, it actually opens in a new tab, which is something that a lot of people get annoyed with in the V1 interface of Nansen. So that's just the Lido dashboard. We're going to migrate so that everything looks like this. And it's also dark mode, as you can see, with better nums and branding and so on and so forth. Cool.
Do you know if STETH and ETH
Should we
trade
jump into the hot contracts?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing.
Okay, I'm frozen again. I can't hear you. I'll just refresh 1 second.
All right. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Okay. We'll wait for Alex to reconnect here. If does anyone have any projects they want us to dive into today? We'll see in the chat. Some of the ones that I've seen. Obviously, we can dive into Float Bank. That's been a big one this week. But there's also Olympus DAO and Elastic DAO that I saw pop up in hot contracts. Alex, you back?
I'm back again. Sorry if I couldn't hear you, if you were jumping in there. But I think maybe we should try YouTube or something, some other channel. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi here or what's happening. But
my question before you dropped off was, do you know if STETH and ETH trade at parity? Like 1-to-1?
Mostly they do. I think right now STETH is at a slight discount, which you can see in the dashboard as well.
I guess that makes sense. I wonder if people just arb that all day long, like just buy.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. The only thing is you can't really redeem it, right? So it's kind of a one-sided peg in that sense.
Right, but you would just trade it back as soon as the.
If you assume that it's going to make it back to 1, then you can sell it, right? Yeah.
Cool. All right, should we pop open hot contracts?
Let's do it. I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see. All right, jumping to hot contracts. Let's see if we find something interesting. All right. Sharding DAO pool at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Smart money depositing. 55 million in the last day, $150 million in the last 7 days. That sounds like something we should have a look at.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
I think there's a couple angles we can look at this one from. So I think Sharding DAO, if you pull up the website, I can't remember what the URL is. Maybe you can find it just through the Etherscan link. But they've got some pools for some non-standard tokens, like B20, for example. app.shardingdao.com. Thank you, Juan. So they've got some pools for some tokens that don't normally have pools. So I'm guessing we could dive into them from the perspective of both those tokens. For example, B20, I think I saw, had a pool. Alex is gone. All right, I might take the reins here. All right, can you guys see my screen? Well, welcome back, Alex.
Thank you very much.
I'm taking over here. I'm the captain now. All right. So
you're the captain? Okay.
Yeah. app.shardingdao.com. Meanwhile, in the back end here, we'll spin up a token god mode for B20, and hopefully we'll be able to see some of the balance changes in the past 7 days flowing into that. And then we'll also see in the top depositors who's participating. So Sharding DAO. Wrong network. I think I'm on Kovan.
You're not on BSC.
No. God forbid. All right, let's reload. Use booster link. What's going on here? Pools. All right. So WBTC, ETH, USDT, B20, Meme, Muse, Rari, so on and so forth. So some pools that you wouldn't normally see. So when you see a project like this that has single asset staking for different pools, or for different tokens that don't really have any other staking pools available, it's good to always just check where those tokens are, or where the balance has changed to. Yeah, so here immediately we see in the last 7 days, there's been pretty large inflows into Sharding DAO. So whenever I come here, I always first check outflows just to see where things are leaving from. So that this would kind of show me pools that people are exiting. So for example, like if there's a token that has multiple staking opportunities, you would, and a new staking opportunity comes up, you would likely see tokens flowing out from the lower yield opportunities to go to this new one. And here we see a ton flowing into both here and also, interestingly, this Uniswap pool. If we want to see who's actually participating in this, we can scroll down to here and open the top depositors. So it looks like this was just launched in the last couple days.
It looks like we got a black screen. Would you mind stop screen sharing and sharing again?
All right. So many technical difficulties today.
Yeah, I think we might want to try like YouTube or something next time.
They in the chat they're saying all good.
Yeah, there's one guy saying black screen, and I personally only see a frozen screen, so it seems like there's some kind of issue, but maybe it's...
All right, we'll try this again. Thanks for everyone's patience here as we work through this. All right, good?
Yep, good now.
All right, back to top depositors. All right. So, yeah, usually what I would check here is for smart money. Although in a project like this, I mean, there is certainly smart money buyers of B20, but I would say this one's more of a kind of an NFT punt of sorts. But interestingly, there's only 46 depositors in this pool, and a lot of it is pretty top heavy, let's say. Like there's a lot of quite big stakers. One of the things you can think about if you're entering a pool and you have a large enough stack size that you can be competitive here is as people analyze the yields on different pools, if you're potentially going to come in as the largest person, you'll probably crowd out some of the other people and reduce the yield for everyone. And so you can kind of think through the game theory of if I come in and nuke the yields for everyone, like take them from 100% down to 50%, will most people stay in or will they withdraw? And you know, this is just one specific example. I don't think there's any other opportunities for staking B20, so it's different here, but that is kind of the thought process as you're analyzing these top depositors. It's usually like there's one or two people who have gotten in early or who have just gone in massive size and kind of ruined the yields for everyone. You could also think that if you came in size, maybe some of these top depositors would reduce their size as well and reallocate that capital elsewhere. So those are just some whale games you can play. Not that I play, just from from people I've spoken to. So that's on B20. Do we want to dive in on any of these other sharding DAO pools?
Yeah, let's see. What are the other major assets that are being held in sharding DAO?
Actually, so maybe one thing we can actually talk about here real quick is, since there's a lot of WBTC, ETH, and USDT.
Yeah.
One of the places I frequently check, at least once or twice a week, is just checking token god mode for the majors, including WBTC, including DAI, USDC, USDT, and just seeing where those major token flows are. And I think this week in WBTC, we'll probably see a lot flowing into the sharding DAO, but also into float. Or, sometimes like back in the day, you would have seen a ton of WBTC flowing into Badger. So people who are sitting on large bags of WBTC or stable coins, just as kind of their core holdings in their portfolio, whenever there's a new farm that is single asset staking for one of these major tokens, you do typically see a lot of tokens flowing there. Another one would have been Big Data Protocol. Like we did see a ton of the majors flowing in. So here we see WBTC, we see Vesper. What else do we see? Sharding DAO. Anything else jump out at you here?
Well, you can see the smart LPs, right? They're probably sending the funds into some of these farms.
Right. Yeah. I guess we could check one of these guys. So, okay, so balance is currently 0. So maybe that's not as helpful. But someone, 8. I'm just thinking one of the things we could check here is in top balances, since we can check the wallet profiler. If we can find some smart LPs, someone like this, could be interesting to see the wallet profiler for WBTC. And if we identify like a big WBTC farmer who hops around to these different pools, it could be worth putting on a smart alert for them as something like a WBTC farmer. And every time they move their WBTC around, you would get a notification and check where they've moved their WBTC.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think we can also plug in those 2 smart LPs that we discovered in the top balance changes
up here,
and we can just plug in those addresses in the URL, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is we want to see what they're actually doing with their WBTC.
So sorry, I'm hopping around here. So I would just copy this URL, paste it here, and then swap out the address here.
Exactly. It's a bit clunky, like we're going to make this a bit easier in the new UI, but it is possible. Just make use of these URL parameters.
How would you have done that?
No, that's how you do it at the moment. Unfortunately, like we should just have links to this stuff directly, right? So you don't have to like copy and paste all these things.
Yeah. So I'd be curious to see where they got these big inflows of WBTC from. If they bought them or if they pulled them off of Aave or something like that. So let's sort by time here in reverse order. And so they got a bunch from Curve. Okay. So Ren adapter, I'm guessing they wrapped it themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that could be.
So
it could also be because you can do that through Curve, right? On Curve.finance.
Yeah. So they put a bunch into Big Data Protocol in pretty large size here, and then pulled out more. It looks like, or wrapped more, and then withdrew from Big Data Protocol on March 12th when the rewards ended. I guess just sat in WBTC for a couple days. 2, I guess this is, I'm actually not sure what the ZK swap bridge proxy is. And then here, Vesper Finance. So I think we did see this Vesper Finance on hot contracts. Yeah, Vesper Finance, VWBTC Grow Pool, which has 3,000 in it. So this person is almost taking up a third of this Vesper Finance pool.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, definitely this address is one that you could follow for new projects, right?
Yeah, let's actually do that real quick. Let's see, or let's show what it would look like to set up a smart alert for this. So add trigger. It's just a simple trigger, and let's call it WBTC farmer. Toss in this name. Here's a question for you. In terms of how would you describe the difference between transaction and token transfer? Is transaction just an ETH transaction, or is that a contract interaction?
Yeah, both of those.
Both? Yeah, and then token transfer is the same, but non-ETH?
Yes, it's only for ERC20. Yeah.
Got it. So here we are seeing, it would be great to set both minimum USD, but also minimum token value. because it would be cool to just set like 500 WBTC and not have to do the calculation here.
Yeah,
let's say 1 million here at least, and token WBTC. And then the next step here would be plugging in the a Telegram chat. You can just follow the instructions here, and then it'll output into your Telegram.
Yeah,
you could do that with this guy.
You actually get a confirmation in Telegram when it's set up, so you know that you actually set things up correctly.
Mm-hmm. Anything else we should dive in on here?
I'm kind of curious on this Vesper Finance top depositors.
Cool, let's do it. So coming back here, Vesper Finance, WBTC Grow Pool. This is balance changes, so let's go down to top balances so we can find it again. We're on right here.
2.3% of all WBTC is sitting in the Vesper Finance. This is one of the top 10 addresses holding WBTC.
Would there be anything worth checking into on the WBTC dashboard as well?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. We can see if there's been some minting. In fact, I'll just check that in the background while you're doing this.
Sure.
To see if there's anything worth looking at afterwards.
Cool. So here's our 0x0AD. Here's our smart LP, who's taking up actually almost half of the Vesper Finance pool. So if Vesper Finance looks like there's terrible yields, it's because this guy came in. I don't know what the yields are on the Vesper Finance pool, but this would be an example of where some whale comes in and nukes the yields for everyone.
It's a lot of smart money though. That's interesting. Like the top 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7, 4 of them are smart money wallets.
Yeah. And as we scroll through here, more. NFT maxi.eth. I think this is also YFI maxi.eth. But now this is the name that pops up. Yeah, YFI maxi.eth. So this is a fairly large wallet and is an early mover on a lot of projects. I would say of smart money wallets to track, this is probably a decent one to set a smart alert on.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat about smart LP. So smart LP is actually kind of a subset of the smart money wallets, and smart money is indicated with this emoji with glasses. Smart LP specifically is about their track record as a liquidity provider. So if they've made a lot of money as a liquidity provider, they will get that smart LP label. And having the smart LP label also basically makes you a smart money address. So that's the explanation there.
In terms of other addresses in the smart money segment, so we've got the smart LPs, but we also have flash boys, people who use flash loans for liquidation or arbitrage strategies. We've got the funds that we manually label, and we've got whale wallets that are... How would you describe what we're considering a whale wallet?
To be perfectly honest, I don't actually know.
Explaining that, we come up with these different heuristics for what's considered what fits into these categories. And so funds we mostly manually label, but whale would be something that either has high balances or high activity or some combination thereof. Or other big wallets that we've labeled that aren't necessarily a fund. So for example, like 0xB1, for example, could be considered a whale. I guess they also pop up here. But yeah. All right. What should we dive into next? Or did we figure everything out here?
Yeah, I think we got a sense of who's in the Vesper Finance project, might be worth looking at, given that there's a lot of smart money in it.
0xB1 here.
Yeah, 0xB1 as well, with a relatively small amount of
WBTC. This is like dust for them.
Yeah.
So wait, so actually, so this is interesting. So maybe we can check on their wallet token for wallet profiler for token. So on March 21st, they exited in fairly large size from this pool, and then on March 23rd, we see this large inflow. It's possible that the opportunity wasn't that attractive before March 21st. Because 0xB1 was, I guess, the second largest staker until then.
Can you just check the exact timestamp again on 0xB1? If you just find them when they actually exited the pool? I'm just curious if it was like at the same time. It might be easier to see in the dashboard that we were just looking at if you just kind of scroll back to the page where 0xB1 was. So this was at 1:35 a.m. and
here
0xB1, yeah, okay, so it's like not exactly at the same time. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right, it was like 1.5 days difference, right? Something like that.
But I guess, I mean, this makes sense that the top farmers are monitoring these opportunities on a regular basis. Sometimes the yields aren't that attractive, but as people rotate their crops throughout different projects, you know, maybe 0xB1 has accumulated a little moon bag of Vesper and is moving their WBTC elsewhere. It opens up the opportunity for other people. So actually, let's pull up 0xB1 here and see what they've been doing with it. So on March 21st, they withdrew from Vesper. Although actually, it looks like they only had 100 on that day. So they've been withdrawing over time and scaling out of that position. Where else have they been going into? Curve, TBTC deposit. Where else? WBTC, well, not really in large size here.
Yep.
I'm curious where they've put the most into. Compound quite a bit.
Yeah, you can probably see this as well if you scroll up to the counterparties, right? The kind of pie charts there. You can see which ones they interacted with the most. Compound, Avax, Uniswap, Curve, Big Data Protocol.
Celsius.
That's
where you put that monkey emoji, like the one that's like looking away.
Yeah.
Or not emoji, meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people watching this have some ideas on that wallet. I guess we shouldn't comment too much on their identity.
All right. So where should we check out next?
We could have a look at the gas tracker dashboard to see if there's anything. Sometimes you see some crazy stuff happening with gas usage. I think linear finance was one that I saw the other day. So maybe it's a good time to reiterate kind of the overall methodology that you might use when you're actually using Nansen. So there are basically three main things that you can use Nansen for. Number one is discovery. So that's the kind of stuff we were doing now with hot contracts. You can also use the gas tracker for discovery. So it's discovering like yield farming opportunities, new tokens, and so on and so forth. The next thing is due diligence. So once you know what you're looking for, you can do token god mode on a specific token. You can do top depositors on a specific yield farm, and so on. And the third one is defense. So if you already made a trade, you've entered a yield farm, or you have entered a position like buying an ERC20 token, you can then set up smart alerts to monitor, should I be exiting? Is someone else gonna, have they started dumping these tokens, or what's the smart money doing around this token, and so on and so forth. So discovery, due diligence, and defense is a good framework to keep in mind.
Triple D.
Triple D. 3D. Yeah, you see this linear finance bump there, right?
Oh, is that this? Okay, yeah. Yeah, what was that?
I actually don't know, but I think someone tweeted about it.
Wait, I clicked it and it disappeared. Is that normal?
No.
It's gone now.
That's hilarious. Does that happen if you click something else too?
No, it was just the one.
Oh, it might have just been a refresh then that took place behind the scenes, and it got updated because it was showing a cached version. Yeah.
In that 1 second? Hold on, let's reload the page.
Yeah, I
here.
don't know.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying your explanation here.
Well, it's gone, right?
I guess so.
I think it was right.
Sorry, guys.
Live debugging,
yeah. It is interesting that we're seeing more NFT projects up here. Yeah, there's what's the biggest one? So Rare, OpenSea, Axie, Rarible. Yeah. What does AirSwap do? What are they up to? Why is this popping up here?
Well, it's a DEX.
Right, but who's using them?
I think now they might be used for MetaMask swaps. So they're one of the destinations where the MetaMask DEX aggregator will route transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So they're being used much more now than before. Before they were used mostly for like large OTC trades. Yeah, someone is saying DEX trade there for airdrop. So maybe that's also... Is that referring to AirSwap? Jean-Christophe?
So maybe you can also talk a bit about entity labeling here and why we've got this kind of entities versus accounts, and why you would see, for example, So Rare here just once, and then you'd see So Rare, So Rare, So Rare.
Yeah. So maybe we can explain this with Binance if you scroll up, because it might be more extreme in that scenario.
Definitely.
So if you want to understand how much fees are being spent by Binance, first of all, you need to look at their, all the main hot wallets that they have. But you also need to look at the user deposit wallets. And so with Nansen, we tag up, I think, somewhere around 3 million user deposit wallets for Binance. And so the fees that you see there are actually aggregated across all of those. And, this isn't really possible to see if you only have the on-chain data. You need also to have the attribution to the entities. And so there's actually, not just for gas tracker, but capital flows and so on, very often what you care about is the entity granularity. You don't care about individual addresses. You want to look at an entity across all of the addresses that they manage. And you were looking at Uniswap further down, right? And it's similar because you have tons of different Uniswap pools. And so the gas consumption is aggregated across all those different pools. So yeah, that's just one of the things that is unique about Nansen, that we have extremely good coverage on these different entities. And it gives you, a bit more of signal, because you are seeing this stuff at a higher level than if you just looked at individual addresses on like Etherscan or something like that.
So up here on gas spenders, this high gas consumer, it looks like we should tag as, or maybe is worth tagging as So Rare. When I pulled that up in Wallet Profiler, we see that it's interacting quite a bit with the So Rare contract, which is interesting because then So Rare is consuming a ton and spending a ton.
Yeah, interesting. That's a good one. Maybe we should look into that. That, by the way, that's kind of how our research analysts, when they do manual tagging, they will look into stuff like this. So I guess this one is just hasn't been processed yet by the team, but it's a good catch.
Can we fix this layout too? I think I saw Mayank on the stream. Mayank, if you're there.
Yeah. He's there. He says hi in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question here. What is your view on Avax, Avalanche, I guess, and do you plan to release similar products for other smart contract platforms in the future? Yeah, so this is, I would say, a constant question, not just from our users, but also something we consider in the team internally. The trade-off is basically, as soon as you start adding support for other chains, you start splitting focus, right? And so the question is, do we want to double down on Ethereum and have kind of the best analytics product for Ethereum, making sure we have the highest coverage on wallet labels and so on? Or do we want to start, spreading our focus across these different chains? And so for now, we've had a lot of success doubling down on Ethereum. What we know we will do is we will expand to L2s. So that's still considered to be a part of, the Ethereum network. And just to be transparent about that, we are going to add support, over the next weeks and perhaps months. We're going to be adding support for Matic, or Polygon, as they're called now, Optimism, ZK Sync, Loopring, Starkware, and at a minimum those L2 solutions. Then it is a bit more an open question if we're going to add other, very different chains. You could look at BSC, for example, as an interesting case, because it's like the data is very similar because it's basically the EVM and it's a fork of Ethereum. But then there's other chains that are, different data formats and so on that I don't think we're going to be adding support for in the very near future, maybe later in the year. But at the end of the day, this stuff is driven by customer demand. So if people want, say, Avalanche support, and if it's a chain that they use a lot, we would be happy to integrate it. But we try to stay organic. We don't want to add chains just because we have VC investors or something that have invested in those chains. It really comes organically from what our customers actually ask for.
A question I would have for anyone who's asking about other coverage is what would you actually specifically want to see? Let's say we dive into BSC or Avax. What would be the top features that you would want to see on those dashboards that we can kind of cover right away? Live APY.
Okay. So that's if you're doing farming on BSC, for example, I imagine. Yeah. That's a good one. New contracts. Okay. Kind of like hot contracts, but for BSC.
Does BSC scan show those verified contracts as well? Do you know?
Not sure, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Smart money tags.
That one, so smart money tags, I think that's where it gets a little more complicated, because then we need to set up the heuristics for smart money on BSC, and it might be different how we're measuring these things. So I'm just wondering specifically about the low hanging fruit of data we could show on these alternate chains.
I think hot contracts is a pretty good candidate, to be honest. Smart money tags, some of them can be carried over from Ethereum, and some of the heuristics could also be carried over, but it would be more work identifying larger funds and so on that are active on those chains. Say someone like Alameda. I haven't actually investigated if they use the same wallets or if they spin up new ones for BSC. I imagine they're active on BSC as well.
We could check bridges. We could have a bridge profiler where we track Ren, we track Pangolin or whatever that one is.
Here's another feature, having all new verified contracts before any inflow would be awesome. Yeah.
Luca, that's something you can check on Etherscan right now, by the way. I can't remember what the link is. Etherscan.io.
BSC won't exist in 1 year. No need to waste time there. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Yeah. It's very hard to say. I mean, the could go both ways. I would say not to say that VSE is just disrupting Ethereum, but disruption always looks a bit silly in the beginning. So who knows?
Yeah, Luca, that's you found it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good place to find to just check for new contracts. Although hard to parse exactly what it is. I mean, unless you click through each of those different contracts, it's hard to figure out what's worth checking out. All right, should we dive back into the dashboards here? Do you think your internet's good enough to screen share?
Oh, good question. It's been pretty choppy today, to be honest. Not sure it's the internet or it's the platform, because I don't have any problems with streams from this Wi-Fi connection. We could look at Smart Money Dashboard.
Let's pull up hot contracts. I think
Okay.
Let's pull up hot contracts, poke through it a little bit. At the very least, flag some of those projects so that anyone in the stream here can go on and research them after and get a high-level view of the flows right now.
All right, let's see. All right, can you see my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
What is this KERC20 delegated?
That's a good question. No? Maybe Klein or whatever?
Collateralized. Collateralized.
Oh, I did see collateralized on the next page on hot contracts as well.
I'll just close this. On the next page here.
Yeah, if you poke through.
Collective, maybe.
Oh, collective. Maybe that's what it was.
Well, it has some smart money in it. I think it looked like it was WBTC. So we could go back to token god mode WBTC. That's my shortcut for jumping to WBTC.
One thing I'll point out real quick on hot contracts, if you don't mind going back there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an obvious statement, but when you see that the inflows in the 1 day and 7 day are effectively the same, it means it was launched today. It's kind of an obvious statement, but just like, so for example, those first, so Sharding DAO was clearly not launched in the past 1 day, but KERC20 Delegator and Nexo are both launched in the last day. And so is the next one.
Yeah.
And also, also if something is unlabeled, it just hasn't gone through our labeling function yet, which runs how often?
It runs every hour.
Right.
So that could be pretty fresh one here as well.
Yeah.
But it's not verified, so...
Oh, it's either if it's verified or if it hits the automated labeling function.
So maybe let's look for this KERC20 delegator. Let's see if we can spot it. It's this guy, right? Started receiving tokens 2 days. It has like 44 WBTC, so it's not very big. But we could have a look to see what it actually is. So what I will do is I noted that KERC20 has a balance of 44 BTC. And so I'm just going to find that in the top balances here. I'm just going to click through to about 44. Here it is. And now I'm going to click on top depositors because I want to find out who's depositing the WBTC into this contract. A coconut swap. Proxy, what's that? Coconut swap, okay. Now I've got top depositors up with Wrap Bitcoin. There's actually some smart money in this one. 2 Flash Boys, 1 Smart LP. Yeah, it looks like they all... Actually, there's one... Most of them started today, right? March 24th, yeah. Let's see. There's one that started before, but maybe they were just testing it or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably a project team or something like that.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. Would want to check out what this is. So how would I find this? I mean, I would just collateralized BTC or something. WBTC. Not much there. Could maybe search on Twitter.
Does anyone in the chat know about that one?
It's like 12 holders though. I mean, yeah. It's interesting though, but like I don't know what it is.
Oh, it is Klondike? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Kind governance token.
I think that's Klondike. Maybe not actually. Was there one called Kind Finance or something like that? I've lost track of
interesting.
of these new projects.
Yeah.
Kind Finance. CoinGecko. Kind. Yeah, okay, Kind Protocol. So they've got a website at kind.io, but also kind.finance, it looks like.
Derivatives on Ethereum. Is it this one?
So kind.finance is, it looks like their staking site, and then kind.io is just their general site. I do remember seeing this one in the hot contracts a little while back.
It was interesting. Like you saw not that many addresses that were there, but some of them were smart money addresses, which is interesting. Yeah. So I think we found, this is the Kind deployer, and they've deployed a lot of other. So this is gonna flag this one to get this reviewed from the team afterwards. Cool. Alchemist. Yeah, you can also sort on these, right? To understand, like, looks like a lot of money has been flowing out of float in the last day. Not a lot, but well, for sushi, like $50 million.
Sorry, I'm just still looking at Kind. There's actually pretty good yields on Kind. It looks like I'm not just like surface level here. It looks like 81% max APY on USDT. Same with USDC. ETH 76%. I'm not sure kind of capacity. It looks like there's around 1 million staked in USDT. So anyways, if someone has some spare stable coins, it could be worth checking out. Or spare ETH.
Yeah, has a lot of well-known backers. Yeah, it's a good example of how stuff can show up on your radar, just looking at on-chain data. It's funny though, if you sort by inflow on the week, it's basically all float though.
Yeah, float really. I mean, that we've talked about that one over and over the past couple weeks, months. Yeah. It's crazy.
A lot of farming going on there. A lot of smart money as well on all of them.
Yeah. In the last day, could we get a column for your weekly smart depositors or?
Yeah. Just I think this was actually built by Evgeny, so he would have to add it, but you can put it in the product requests.
When it actually, this is probably another question for Evgeny, but is depositors considered like they actually put deposit money in, or they've just interacted with the contract? So for example, like 0xB1, for example, if he was already, like we were looking at that contract earlier, if he withdrew money on that day, are we flagging that as just an interaction and it would show up as depositors, or you need to be inserting money into the contract?
I'm pretty sure it's like any interaction.
Okay.
Which maybe makes the column name a bit misleading. But yeah, I guess it depends. It's semantics, right? Like if you're withdrawing, that means you were a depositor in the past, at least. So.
Can we look into Dollar Protocol if there's time? There is time.
Yeah.
One of the things I would just flag about Dollar Protocol is that it's a rebasing token, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like one of those algo stablecoins, and sometimes those appear a little weirdly.
What's the token symbol for Dollar Protocol?
I think it was USD, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going off memory here. Dollar Protocol.
Yeah, we could also use the custom the token address from just the Etherscan record. So Dollar Protocol old share token.
Oh, share.
Token.
That's right.
So do you want to look at share or USD? It says old, so I imagine they might have switched up their tokens.
Share is the request.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's try seeing if we can do share. Actually, just gonna do this. I like using this one up here. It makes it a bit easier to refresh and so on.
While that loads, in the chat, someone was asking about Hermes. Or Hermes, I don't know how you want to pronounce that. But is there a contract, like an L1 contract that we can look into, or what did you want to look into there? All right. We got a few requests in the chat here, so let's let's look at share here, and then.
Yep. Okay. So we've got share. 23% of supply on exchanges. Mostly Uniswap, also Gate.io, and Bilaxi. Looks like there's been a lot of inflow to exchanges in the last 3 days.
Specifically Uniswap.
Yeah, which you can see in this chart as well.
Yeah. I would say anytime you do see like a big spike in exchange activity, whether it's inflows or outflows, like it's definitely worth looking into what's going on. So whether the next step is like digging into the Discord or checking on Twitter or something like that, whenever you do see something that's out of the ordinary, like big inflows here, it's worth checking out what's going on.
Yeah, it could be like liquidity incentives, right? For example.
Like for share wrapped ETH or something like that. Let's see where the top balance changes were in last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So top balance changes. Clicking this one. Yeah, this share wrapped Ether has a lot of inflow. We could actually check this. Maybe it's a bit convoluted, but we could actually check the top holders of this LP token in the custom token god mode. And then we would find out if there's a main destination where people are locking up their LP tokens. So that's like one way we could just find out right away. I'm going to copy this token, sorry, not that one, this address, which is basically the LP token for it. And then I'm going to go to the custom token god mode. And this is a little bit weird, but we're going to plug in the LP token into token god mode. So this is how you would do this today. We might want to do this in a simpler way in the future. It's being weird. That's why I like to use this up here instead. Plug in the address as a parameter, and it's going to load up token god mode for the LP token. And what I would expect to see is that most of these LP tokens are placed in some smart contract, if there really is a liquidity incentives program. Let's see. And would you look at that? 92% of all the LP tokens are sitting in a contract called Gaia Farm. And who's depositing into that? So now you kind of see the, how this plays out in a real world example, right? We discovered something from Share that there was an increase in Uniswap liquidity that caused us to think, hey, maybe there's some kind of incentives program going on. So let me take the LP token, plug it into the custom token God mode, and we confirm the hypothesis that, hey, there's actually one smart contract where people are depositing all their LP tokens, and that contract is Gaia Farm.
Oh, I just saw VFAT. Maybe VFAT has
is in here. Yeah.
Let's see if he's got a dashboard for that. VFAT.tools and dollar protocol.
No. Interesting. Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like he's got. Check on Seniorage in the top.
This one?
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he's got. Let's see, dollar. Sometimes he's got hidden links. Cipher the alpha lake VFAT. I'm not seeing it. Maybe share.
No. It looks like 137 addresses have deposited LP tokens into this farm.
Oh, Gaia works. There we go. VFAT.tool/Gaia.
Gaia?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you have to actually input your... That's funny. Okay, info. Dollar protocol stake.
Wow. This is some pretty juicy yields here.
Wait. Yeah. 16% per day? Is that... Am I reading this correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is, do your own research, but it looks pretty juicy.
Medium Dex trader in the chat is saying check out USDF USDC pool. So maybe like in token God mode or like in top depositors.
Okay. Okay, yeah, let's do that with USDC. So it's...
Or I think we can check USDF, right? Or do we have that one listed?
I'm not sure we have it. We can have a look. USDF doesn't look like it. We should add that. Maybe let's just do USDC. Might be a bit hard to spot because there's a lot of stuff going on with USDC. But yeah, USDF, USDC, we should be able to... There's no link to the actual address. Or? Here we go. Nice.
So you can just put that in token God mode custom, right?
Yep. That's right. So let's do that. So I just grabbed basically, I clicked this and that linked to Etherscan for that LP token. So now I'm just grabbing that and copying it into the custom version of token God mode. Let's have a look. It loads. Yeah, some smart money here. Some Flash Boys. I've seen that Flash Boy before. I think it was big and float as well. Oh, look at that.
0x151.
Oh, look at that. That's a well-known
Which one?
address as well. This whale.
Oh, here it's so blurry. I can't even see.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a whale here. Yeah, this is deep down the rabbit hole. Gaia farm. Yeah, we're looking at who's deposited that LP token into Gaia farm. Oh, look at that.
Oh, there's your 0x151.
That's a lot of smart money.
Can you scroll down a bit? Our faces are blocking the
Oh, okay.
FOMO seeping in. All right, there we see the NFT Maxi again.
NFT Maxi, a certain whale, Smart LP, Sisyphus.eth, Nav.eth, which I've also seen a few other places. This Flash Boy, Smart LP, Disto.eth. Yeah. Okay, I think this may be a pretty decent alpha leak.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Everyone forget it. We got
time to end the
Men
stream.
in Black flash everyone's memory here. We're going in.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's end the stream.
Yeah, actually, I think we are coming up on time here. We didn't get to Olympus, unfortunately, folks, but that's an exercise for the viewer. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Any final things to add here, Alex?
I think we should drop just the link to the stuff that we were looking at, so because it was pretty hard to follow, I think. So just for context, that link shows the top depositors of a Uniswap LP token into the Gaia farm. And so the link to the project where you actually stake this stuff, and of course, like, do your own research. We have not done any due diligence on this stuff. We've never looked at it before.
Nor is this financial advice.
Nor is it financial advice. But at least that's the dashboard that shows who is actually depositing into that, depositing their LP tokens into the Gaia farm. And that link at the bottom there seems to be, where you actually do that stuff.
Cool. All right. USDF tanked from $1 to 0.87. All right, definitely not financial advice.
Yeah. Do your own research.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining. We will see you on the next edition of Nansen Office Hours, number 18, next Wednesday at 9 a.m. EST. Have a great weekend, or a great week and a great weekend.
Have a good one. Take
Bye.
care.